Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes are sweet and sexy. Have fun, enjoy the journey. Or just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions and lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Sack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proceed, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Hello, my friends. Hang on one second. I'm trying to pin the link in the chat, and every time I do it with my fingers on my phone, it sort of just goes to the link, and it won't let me pin it, so I can't pin it. But I put the link for the Give, Send, Go for the Spencer family in the chat. I am shooketh. I'm shooketh. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025, and I thought I'd seen it all. I thought I'd seen it all in my more than 3-decade career as a litigator in New York State and federal courts, representing survivors and victims of all kinds of horrific things. I've seen corruption at the highest level when it involved the Catholic Church and all of the cases that I handled for the victims and survivors of clergy SA here on Long Island in New York against the Rockville Centre Diocese. That scandal broke in Boston in 2002 and was a 15-year-long fight, at least, because at the time, New York was the most pedo-friendly state in the country. And if you could keep a kid quiet long enough, you would never go to jail and you could never be prosecuted. Eventually, the law was changed, but that started in 2002. And this is what I've been doing for my entire career. And what I have uncovered today, I think I'm still shaking. This has shaken me to the core, what is happening in Arkansas. And it may shake you to the core as well. So I'm going to give you a blanket trigger warning for today's show. Some of you who are survivors may not be able to handle this. And some of you who are parents may not be able to handle this. And this is horrific. And to find out that this is still going on in 2025 should outrage you. It should outrage you. So is everyone here right now familiar with the Aaron Spencer case? Because if you're not, I have a very extensive summary below in the show notes. It's not just Catholic priests all the way. That's not the point. That was not the point of my comment. My point is that I have seen everything at very high levels. It happens everywhere. It's not just the Catholic Church. It happens in all kinds of organizations. It happens in everyday life. It happens between relatives. It happens between strangers. It happens with teachers, with Boy Scout leaders, with anybody in position of power, and even people who are not in positions of power, with weak people who want to dominate other people. It happens everywhere. That was not the point. The point is that I have been doing this for more than 30 years, and I am horrified by what I am uncovering in this Spencer case and what is going on in Lonoke County and what went on in Indiana before that and what went on God knows where in the rest of the country. Because Michael Fosler, the real perpetrator here, the real criminal here, Michael Fosler, was in the military, and he probably traveled all over the country. And thank you to Ellen for sending me the YouTube video that you sent me this morning. Another victim of Michael Fosler has shared her story with a YouTuber. The video only has 87 views as I sit here with you right now. This victim of Michael Fosler goes back to 1981. 1981. Michael Fosler was the town cop in Hamlet, Indiana. And this woman, who was a child at the time, was abused by him. And if somebody had done something about Fostler in 1981, how many years of victims would have been spared? I am outraged. And I know there are more. I know there are more out there. I know that you're out there and that you might not even know that this guy was still out there and that this guy was still doing it. And I told you in the very first show I did on this, and every single show I do with you regarding offenders like this, they will offend, and this is the statistics, at least 100 times before they are caught. At least 100 times. And in fact, when this girl was abused by Fostler back in 1981 in Indiana and told her mom about it, and her parents went to the police. This guy was the town cop in Indiana. They wouldn't do anything about it. She couldn't get away from him. So her mother sent her to live with her father in Arkansas and reported her as a runaway to protect her daughter. And then when this story just surfaced about Aaron Spencer, the woman was triggered. And she said, holy, that's the guy. That's the guy who did it to me. And you know what? She was shocked and horrified to find out that Fostler lived within walking distance from where she now lived in Arkansas. Had no idea that he was there. I'm going to let her tell you this in her own words. And I'm going to ask you also, as a courtesy, to please go give the content creator on YouTube a follow and a like, because she's the one who was able to get this woman to tell her story. I'm shooketh, and you're going to be shooketh by it too. The creator's name is Michelle's Criminal Musings. She has 877 subscribers, 395 videos. This was posted, what did I just say? About 16 hours ago, and it's got
There we go.
82 views. This is going to be the 83rd view. Please shout out to Michelle for doing the Lord's work. This is going to trigger you. So please protect your peace. And if there is anybody out there who is a victim or was a victim or a survivor of Michael Fosler, and you don't know where to go because you don't want to go to the Lonoke County Sheriff, because what I tell you after this about what's going on in the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office and the jail in Lonoke County is also going to shake you to the core. I can barely speak. I'm so upset about this. Email me. Email me. My email is below in the show notes. You just have to find it. It says inquiries. My email is there. It's fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. Email me. You can remain anonymous. I will put you in touch with the right people to contact. I am willing to take on those emails because I know you're out there. And I know it's scary to disclose. And I know that it's horrific and you don't want to relive what happened to you. But the good part about it is that he's dead and that he can't hurt anybody else. And by telling your story and what happened to you, maybe you can help free Aaron Spencer so that Aaron Spencer's daughter does not lose her father, in addition to everything else that she has lost along the way with this monster. There is no hearing today. The hearing was moved to December, and the trial has been moved to January. Let's listen to this survivor of Michael Fosler, tell her story to Michelle.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so you want to help people understand how you knew the person that Aaron Spencer was forced to protect his daughter against.
Exactly. And I hope that other women or females of any age that have had any contact or past dealings with him will have the courage to come forward. That's all. I want other females to come forward
Yep.
in a means to
That's why
protect
she's
this
doing it.
child and this father that was protecting his daughter.
I just put a link to the video.
So I guess I could just start my story
here.
and lay the timeline.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
And I have to admit that my anxiety is through the roof.
Take it however you need to. If you need to stop at any point, just let me know. But take
So-
it however you need to.
Back in December of 1981,
1981.
we had a house fire. I lived in
I don't know about this music. This music may strike me, but I don't care. I'm willing to be stricken. If I have to cut this out later, this video, because there's music in it that's copyright protected, I will cut it out later, but it is so important for you to hear this. I don't think they've issued another gag order. I know they were going to try and do it. They can't gag me. They can't gag me. 1981, she said she had a house fire and she lived in
Ober, Indiana, went to school in Knox, Indiana. And my mom was a single mom with 4 children. And so we moved to Hamlet, Indiana with my cousin. My mom worked in Plymouth and we saved the money to rent our own home in Hamlet. And I lived about a quarter of a mile from Mike Fosler and his wife. And to help my mom financially, I babysat. And some really bad things happened. I ended up not continuing to babysit for them.
I don't know if she babysat for Fostler. Fostler was born in 1957. So he would have been about 24, 23, 24 at the time.
Several months went by. I told my mom that I had a problem. I was not having my monthly period. And so she took me to the doctor and he did a physical and then my period started. After I recovered, she confronted him and he physically chased me through alleys with his car. I feared for my life. I ran through people's backyards to get back to my house. He was considered the town cop. And not only that, he was also somewhat of a resource officer at our school. My mom made me quit school because of him. He wouldn't quit.
He was a resource officer at the school and he was the town cop. And this is reminding me of Sandra Birchmore.
She picked us up and moved us to Plymouth. He followed us. He didn't move there, but he drove there. 15, 20-minute drive from Hamlet. When he wouldn't stop, my mom contacted my dad in Arkansas and sent me to live with my dad. And I felt somewhat safe until a few weeks ago when I found out that he has been here in Arkansas in the same county within walking distance from my home for years. So I have a lot of anxiety and I feel like I'm somewhat living in a twilight zone.
He moved to Arkansas and lived within walking distance of her house. "44 years later, she finds out he's living around the corner from her. There have to be hundreds of victims, I would guess." Thank you, Kelly, for gifting 5 memberships.
I really, there's nothing to do except deal with it. And I didn't come forward for myself. I want no publicity. I came forward to help this little girl and the injustice that has happened to her and her father in the means of
Get
trying
your
to protect
tissues.
her from a demon. That's all I can say. He's a demon. He was. He wouldn't have stopped. When he kidnapped her the second time, he had every intention for her not to be in court, testify against him. I have no doubt in my mind that she would not be here today if Aaron hadn't done what he did. And that breaks my heart as a mother.
We all said the same thing.
And as someone that has
She was
suffered at
not
the
coming
hands
home.
of that man. It's scary to come forward. I want everyone that has had any dealings with him that have been in a negative way to please come forward. Please help protect this young girl. Remember back what you went through and help protect her. Getting her father taken away from her at this point in her life is not going to be beneficial to her.
There can be some power in disclosure. You can get your power back. Please feel free to email me if you were a victim of this monster. I'm going to put up his picture for a second. I hate to give it any airtime, but also, Ellen, thank you for sending this to me. She has also done like a microfiche deep dive into this guy because he has been scrubbed from the internet, Michael Fosler. He has been scrubbed. I don't know if he had family in politics. I don't know if he had family in law enforcement. But if we had any pictures of him when he was younger, that would also help. Because here's the picture that's been circulating. I don't have a cropped version, but let me see if I can crop it when I put it up on the screen. I have to break up this, her story because it upsets me so much that I need to take breaks. So hang on. Here is Michael Fosler for anyone who does not know what he looks like. And I hate to give him even a second of airtime. That's him on the right. That is him. 67 years old when and that is Aaron Spencer on the left, 67 years old when he was abusing 13-year-old daughter of Aaron Spencer. That's what he looks like. Share this out. Let people know what's happening here because the world needs to watch this. The world needs to watch this. And we freed Karen Reed. We can free Aaron Spencer because this is outrageous and we're just getting started. You should be outraged wherever you live.
It's my opinion that through things that I had gone through, I didn't have the courage to tell my father I needed him to save me. But I know that if I did, he would have done the exact same thing or died trying. And that's why you're speaking now, is because you don't feel that this man should have to go to jail for doing his job, the thing we talk about people needing to do for their kids every day.
Right. Any parent would have done the same thing. If I had met that man out on the street after what I went through with him, I cannot honestly say what I would have done.
I can't imagine if you would have just seen him. Like that would have thrown you, that would have triggered everything for you.
Right. Last year, my daughter-in-law told me, hey, did you hear about the Lonoke County man that killed a guy because he kidnapped his daughter and, did things to her? And I had not heard it until she told me. And then you didn't hear anything else about it. It was like it just disappeared. So a few weeks ago,
Right, the gag order.
when I actually heard who he was, it was like, oh my God, how did he end up here?
I'm so sick.
After I left Indiana and had to flee because of him and everything that he did to me, all the damage that he's done to me. How did he end up in the same county, in the same town, within walking distance from me? Why was he here? I
Did he
want to know
follow
that.
her? Did he follow her? Was he stalking her?
You have every right to know. Every right to know. And it's scary to think of the possibility of him following you there. I know that that's what you're thinking.
When my mom sent me to Arkansas, she had to file and report that I was a runaway because he was a cop and she didn't want him to know where I went.
Wow. But he had his ways. He had his ways of finding her. Her mother had to report her as a runaway and likely saved her life. They didn't want more victims coming forward. Exactly. And that night that Michael Fosler kidnapped Aaron Spencer's daughter out of her bed on October 8th, and Aaron Spencer went into her bedroom and found her missing and found her bed stuffed to make it look like she was still in there with a stuffed animal. Anybody ever do that when you were a kid? If you snuck out? I'm sure he did that so he could get away, give himself a little lead time, but the dog barked, and the dog saved Aaron Spencer's daughter's life. And Aaron Spencer didn't know all this about Michael Fosler when he went out looking for his daughter. And we're just finding this out now. And I am horrified.
I didn't even think of that part.
She did it in her mind as a means to protect me. I know.
Of course.
Back then, you didn't talk about those things. They were hush hush. The only thing you could do was leave, flee. Well, we tried and he followed. The only alternative she had was to send me away. And he followed. So it's surprising to me to learn that that man was in the same county, same town, all these years. And I didn't know it. I didn't know it.
I can't imagine how it would have been. I know one time I had come across a relative of my abuser, and it triggered me. I was right back to the day that it happened.
I'm just going to fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
That's
You were babysitting for his children, right?
For
that's
his
right.
children.
Oh, and it was a short time. So from January to April.
Okay.
That is the short 1981 and 82. Well, I was enrolled in January of 82. We actually left Knox over in 81, that Christmas vacation. So yeah, it was a few months. It didn't take him long to act like it. I got to watch what I say. He was very abusive.
I think it's important that.
How many
you're
other
speaking out
girls do you
because
think babysat for him? Where did she say this was in Knox or this was in Hamlet? Plymouth. All of these locations. Anybody out there who might have had contact with this guy, I can't even imagine the number of survivors that are out there that this guy victimized.
important that people understand he didn't just become like this and then
No.
go after this girl. There's a pattern, you guys.
I believe that, he grew up in Hamlet. He graduated in 1975. His family still lives there. Some of mine still do as well.
Oh,
And I fully believe that he has a long, long history before the incident with me and after.
Now, did he try to
believe it
gain your
too.
trust?
Yes.
It was like the grooming and the manipulation and stuff for you too?
Yes, but being 15, I was a little older and
Drew's asking, was he overly friendly at first? Was it an evolution?
both of them were. Him and his wife both were. And when that happened, I actually thought she was involved.
I was about to ask that.
Oh,
She was not involved?
Well, she was in the bedroom when he
I'm sorry.
did what he did at their home.
What? Okay. I pulled up Jane Fostler's obituary, and she was a woman of the church, and she was very into the church, and she was volunteering at the church all the time. And this woman, who was 15 when she was abused by this, says that the wife was in the bedroom when it happened. I didn't listen to this whole entire thing by myself because I was getting so shooketh. I was waiting for you to help me off the ledge. And she worked at a children's hospital. This is also hearkening back now for me to Rex Heuermann and his wife and what she knew or didn't know.
I am so sorry.
Well, so, yeah,
To think of a woman witnessing that happen, allowing it to happen, and not doing anything to intervene, it's just sickening.
Right.
It's just sickening. And I'm sorry that she didn't stop it. I am so sorry.
no, but I think she knew.
The wife is dead. We looked
She
at
knew
her
it.
obituary.
And guys, I don't know if you guys know this.
He also has 2 daughters and a couple of granddaughters, and this is not an open invitation. And please do not contact anybody mentioned in this story. Wow.
My mom actually confronted him about me being pregnant.
Oh.
And he ran me down. I mean, he tried to run me over with his car.
He impregnated this woman, and her mom confronted him, and he tried to run her over with his car, which is exactly what was happening when Aaron Spencer found his daughter in his car.
So
For anybody that had doubts as to what his intentions were with Aaron Spencer's daughter, just listen to this. I've told you guys from the beginning that there was no way she was going to get back home that night. She was not.
No.
I thought the
When
same
he sat
thing.
there and told her, I cannot let you testify, I will not let you testify.
Remember, Aaron Spencer's daughter was going to be the only witness at the trial of Michael Fosler that was coming up in December of 2024. And he kidnapped her on October 8th of 2024. There's no way in hell that she was going to be going home that night. No way in hell. And I hope that this woman can testify at the trial as well. But knowing the judge, do you think she'd allow it in? Would it be more prejudicial than probative? I don't know. Would they ever drop the charges the way we saw them do in Cobb County, Georgia yesterday against Mr. Patel? I don't know.
Said it all, and it really did.
exactly. I have no doubt that she would have not made it home ever. She wouldn't be here today.
And we'd be talking about this for a totally different reason. And that sickens me. And you look at this case and it's all about what Aaron Spencer did. And we're all sitting here staring at this case and this, you guys really want to charge him for protecting his daughter in the way that we tell people they need to protect their children? It's like understanding.
He should be Father of the Year.
Yeah.
It's like understanding the mind of a monster and how he operates. And to hear you, some of the
Monster
stuff
is
that you're
kind.
explaining,
Michelle, Monster is kind.
what gave him the self-appointed power to do this from so many years ago?
He was authority in the town.
He was the cop.
I wasn't the only female. There were other girls, my friends.
He was only 22 when she was abused. I don't know when he was like the cop of Hamlet, Indiana. I don't think when he was 22, maybe later. But when the foxes are guarding the hen house, who do you go to? It's the same setup as what happened in the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church had an entire team of priests who were also lawyers, by the way, who, when the moms would come in to complain about Father so-and-so, would convince the mom not to do anything about it. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it internally. Internally, we'll take care of it. And they didn't. They just shuffled them around. Who knew what about this guy, Fostler, and who protected him and who still protected him when he was charged with 43 felonies in the case of Aaron Spencer's daughter, and Judge Barbara Elmore let him out on $5,000 cash and an order of protection.
We talked about it. All my friends knew what he did. So if they see this live, they know who I am. I'm telling you, girls, come forward. Don't be quiet.
She's encouraging her friends to come forward because it happened to them too in Hamlet, Indiana, by Michael Fosler. Her friends know it happened to them, and she's saying, please come forward. Please listen. She's saying, you know who I am.
Don't be quiet anymore. Come forward. It's time to tell the world what you went through. I'm not the only one. I have reached out to a couple of them and I asked them to come forward to help her. And they're scared. They're afraid because he has family there. They have family there. I have family there. But I'm not the only one. That little girl is not the only one. He has a long history in his path of this kind of behavior. And it's time that it all comes out. It's not fair that Aaron to be charged with murder for protecting his daughter against a criminal that has had this kind of behavior his whole life.
And make no mistake about it, guys, he had over 40 charges against this little girl. And
Yep.
they still let him walk.
That blows my mind. Why was he even out on bond?
Exactly.
He shouldn't have been at all, period.
It's these people that know where people are most vulnerable. So they get into a position of trust and power, and then they use that to manipulate those who are vulnerable.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Not just the physical act that was committed, but the emotional. He
And
targeted her.
Those of you who are in the chat, I know there's a lot of survivors that watch my channel. Maybe you relive it still every single day. You're given a life sentence when this happens to you. And Aaron Spencer did what needed to be done. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And that's why Dexter is in the corner, because some people need killing. When the system doesn't work, and I'm not saying that he was a vigilante, Aaron Spencer, at all. I'm saying he was protecting his daughter and saving her life when this guy was in the commission of another felony, by the way, because he had a restraining order against him. And he committed the felony of kidnapping her and probably attempted murder. And who knows if he had assaulted her sexually that night as well, because I know that she was taken to the hospital for a kit. This was not an act of vigilantism. This was an act of self-defense. He saved her life. Breathe. Everybody breathe.
It was in Hamlet, Indiana. Hamlet, Indiana. That's where he grew up. That's where his crime started. And the surrounding towns.
that's where he was law enforcement and essentially school resource officer.
That's where he graduated high school.
So if you guys know anybody that has a story that they want to share, I cannot stress it enough. The reason that she's sharing her story is because she does not want to happen what many of us are already fearing. The little girl that already lost so much, losing the one person that saved her as well. A person that, even keep in mind, he's already fought for our freedoms. He was in the military. He has risked everything for us. The least we could do is share his story. So doing this is a way for us to bring awareness to the kind of person that was in their lives, the kind of person that victimized this family. Because make no mistake about it, this family, the entire family, was victimized, and we're seeing a long line of people from the past that were too.
Yeah, I just don't know how far back it went. I know I was there in 81 and 82. And I'm curious how far back it went, because he grew up there. Maybe they should start looking into the past and the surrounding towns and all the crime against females that happened there.
Well, he must have an influential family, because he's literally been scraped from the internet. Ellen, my armchair detective who sent this to me, also sent me a couple of articles on microfiche. That's how far back she had to go to find any mention of him. Pamela says, this is sick. I'm a survivor of an attempted kidnapping. It wasn't his first time. I was 9 years old. Let's protect our children. Somebody just sent me some photos of him from when he was younger. So hang tight. We'll stop this again for a second to put up these photos, because it may jog someone's memory. And I have a platform, and I'm going to use it. I'm so sorry, Pamela, about what happened to you. There he is in his younger days. I'll never forget it. When this church scandal broke, I'm a plaintiff's lawyer, and so I handled all types of cases, from car accidents to scaffolding accidents, medical malpractice. And the day the story broke here on Long Island, on the cover of Newsday was a picture of a priest And one of my clients who had been involved in a car accident came in crying. He was older. He was maybe in his 30s or 40s. And then that's back when we watched the physical, we used to read the physical paper. Brought the paper out and put it on my desk in front of me and said, he did the same thing to me. And it started to snowball. And I got loud about it. And one of the predators was the chaplain at my all-girls Catholic high school because he liked the boys. And when he was at a co-ed school, he was abusing boys. So they put him over at the girls' school without telling anybody. And nobody wanted to believe the stories that were coming out about him because he was a big, big money raiser. He was a big fundraiser. Everybody loved Father so-and-so. Nobody wanted to believe it. But when I started getting phone calls from all across the country from men who were in their 40s and 50s who didn't even go to school at the same time for telling the same exact story and the same exact MO of this guy, of course it was true. So here's Fostler in his younger days, folks. He graduated from high school in Hamlet in 1975. There he is in uniform on the upper left of your screen. I guess that's his wedding picture. And the children's faces have been blurred out. Maybe this will jog memories of someone. And if it does, please feel free to email me and I will put you in contact with the right people. I am not asking you to tell your story. I'm not asking you to come on the air and tell your story. I know how hard that is. But maybe if enough people come forward, the DA in Lonoke County, who apparently has his head up his ass, will drop the charges against Aaron Spencer. Maybe. A girl can dream, right? Let's get back to the survivor's story.
Yeah. Sharing your story and being a voice is an important thing to do when there's a cause like this. Because again, if people don't understand the kind of man that it is, this little girl can lose her daddy.
Michelle.
Exactly.
Oh, Michelle, thank you
And we
so
need to
much.
prevent that.
Thank you. So here's Michelle. Michelle is here. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, I'm telling everyone to go sub to you. I tried to leave you a comment this morning to see. I tried to get your permission to play this because I don't like to play content of creators without asking. And thank you for being cool with it. I don't know if you got that. I couldn't reach you. I couldn't find an email for you. I thought it was so important to get it out there like today that I could beg you for permission later. So everyone, please go subscribe to Michelle. Are you on TikTok? Because I don't really use TikTok. I mean, I have somebody has a fake account under my name that they're making money on, and I have an account. But well done, Michelle. Well done. I if you're on TikTok and that's your main platform, everyone go follow Michelle on TikTok too. Hopefully, we'll get your sub count up today. And congratulations on getting this interview and for spreading the word. And we ain't got no quit. And I saw you had a bunch of content also on Karen Reed. So knowing that you followed the Karen Reed case, you know we ain't got no quit. And the more people tell me to shut up, the louder I get. So thank you, Michelle.
She's going to need him. She is going to need all the support from everyone.
His whole family needs him. This is a family-wide thing, but to different scales. But the family cannot lose him right now. They all need each other. His family cannot be ripped apart. All because somebody felt like they can get in a position of power and trust to access people that were vulnerable and then pick out their targets and do the unthinkable.
That's what they do.
He had over 40 charges, you guys, over 40. And she let him out.
Felonies, all
On a
felonies.
low bail with no monitoring. And Aaron Spencer was forced to have to save his daughter. Good morning. He was forced to have to save his daughter. He is a victim in this too.
Hey, TikTok.
No child ever wants to see their parent unalive somebody. They do not. And no parent ever wants their child to have to see that. That's something that you just can't get away from. He did what he had to do when law failed him.
Yep.
This family has suffered enough at the hands of this terrible, terrible person. They should not have to suffer anymore. It's time for them to heal as best they can. I'm asking for everybody here on this live to please say a prayer for them.
Prayers up. for the Spencers. The Give, Send, Go is
I'm
also
heartbroken
linked
over
below.
this. Absolutely heartbroken. And again, I'm going to say anybody that grew up in Hamlet, anybody, any females that were there during this time that have experienced this horrific act, please come forward. Please, please do not stay quiet. It is so important.
There's too much at stake. You don't have to say your name on this at all. That's not one thing. She is speaking because she wants to show what kind of character that this person had at the time. This was in Indiana. It's really important that people understand the accusations that were against this man, the things that he is. We have a pattern of history with this man. It didn't just happen and he picked them. No, there's a list. There is a list. And sometimes unmasking a monster, even though they're already gone, is the most important step.
So someone in the live is asking who I am.
You do not give your name.
Here is who I am. I'm a woman that went through horrific things as a child that grew up. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner here. And I am going to speak out against the terrible acts that were committed against this child.
Praise be.
Oh, they were asking about Foster's wife, Fostler's wife.
What about her?
They were asking if you knew where she was right now.
She's dead. She died.
Yeah, we have her obituary. We went through that on one of the other lives that I did.
It's important for people to be able to come together,
We'll pull it up
to share
again.
their voices for many different reasons. But the reason right now is for the reason to save this little girl from losing her father, to save Aaron Spencer from having to go to prison to lose the freedom that he made sure that we had by fighting for us, because he did the right thing, the thing that law enforcement failed.
Right. And if you don't live around here, you have no idea what goes on here. That alone is horrific.
We thought Norfolk County, Massachusetts was bad. This is a whole other level. This is a whole other level. And this, again, this was posted on Michelle's YouTube yesterday. I'm not sure when she did this interview. Maybe it was yesterday. And I think she said she's restreaming this on TikTok. So I hate TikTok. Get the word out, you guys. If anybody can solve this or anybody can get the word out, it's TikTokers. I know it. And all of my subs on YouTube too. You guys are amazing at getting the word out.
Do you think that they know that you're there?
Yes. Yes, this isn't the first time I've spoke out. 3 weeks ago when I found out who got killed, I felt like I was brain dead, because that name bored in my mind from my childhood. They put that gag order on. You didn't hear anything. You heard about it last year. You didn't hear about it. And recently, I just found out. I didn't know all this time he was in my area. I did not know, going through daily life and living, that he was in my area within walking distance. I did not know until 3 weeks ago.
How has these past 3 weeks been for you?
Chaotic. I even contacted the school up there when I came forward and I said, hey, this is what happened. And I knew him back then. This is what happened to me. I contacted the school and got my school records to prove that what I said was not untrue.
She's got receipts. You know why? Because she knows that so many victims and survivors are not believed. And we see what happens in some of these trials where the jury just doesn't believe the victim. And we saw what happened in that case of that cop in Fall River who was found guilty by a jury of raping his stepdaughter. And then the judge reversed it and let him out of jail. His name was Souza. You remember that? Souza, S-O-U-Z-A. Oh my God.
So
Even with Fostler already gone, do you think there's an element of backlash from the other people
yes,
that have been covering for him?
yes.
Well, yes, we all believe her. 100% we do.
Not just here, but for anyone that speaks out there. The girls that are still there wouldn't come forward because of his family there.
Wow.
My family there are afraid.
Afraid. How powerful are these people?
Julianne,
Thought the McCabe's and the Alberts were bad. How powerful are these people?
And that's a tough question and a tough thing to do, especially when there's so much corruption and a lot of allegations for things in that community. It's a hard thing to do, to decide whether or not you can trust that specific DA.
Exactly.
We just have to start sharing our stories, make sure that everyone knows that this man was always a monster. He didn't stop at just one victim. Allegedly, of course, but not allegedly.
Well, no, not allegedly. How many victims did he have on his path to Arkansas?
Exactly. Right. This is the only time it caught up to him. And the only thing that we could prove is the ones that we have where show him charges. But if you think about what he did to her and what he did to you and how long ago he started, how many times has this man felt comfortable enough to do what he would do to children? And that's scary. Not to my knowledge, Glenn. I only know what the 43 charges that he had on this case. You got to remember, with somebody that connected and powerful, it was important to get away. Especially, you got to remember, he was trying to run her down with a car. He was after her. It is important to be able to get away with your life. And that's what she did. And even now,
if you're just joining, this is another victim of Aaron Spencer. I'm not Aaron Spencer. This is another victim of Michael Fosler, who babysat for him in 1981. And he did the same thing to her in 1981. And she says all her friends knew, and they could be victims or survivors too. And please come forward. Because Aaron Spencer's daughter was not going to make it home that night. 43 felonies against Fostler for what he did to Aaron Spencer's daughter. And Judge Barbara Elmore of Lonoke County let him out with $5,000 cash bail and a piece of paper. And then he kidnapped her in the middle of the night.
her coming forward and speaking is a huge risk to her. But she's doing it for the reason that's important to her. And that's all that matters. But make no mistake about it. Make no mistake. Yeah, he was caught in the act. He was. And this is her story to tell, and she's chosen to tell it. And I believe 100% everything she's saying.
I didn't come forward for myself.
I know.
I came forward for that family and that little girl. And any other victim in between.
I know you did.
It's hard to call and report an act back in the 80s, especially when he's the town cop.
Oh, yeah.
When my mom confronted him, he tried to, I have no doubt he was going to kill me. That's why she picked us up and moved us. And then when he followed, she sent me away. There was no other choice.
If you guys just missed that, she did try to get away and he followed her. In case you missed what she just said, he did follow her on that occasion when she was moved away.
And for him to show up here? Oh my God.
Are you, now that you know, are you?
The channel is in the chat somewhere. It's Michelle's Criminal Musings. Sub up. I keep dropping the link in the chat. If one of the mods could just cut and paste it. Oh, I don't know where we just were. Hang on.
Do you think that they know that you're there?
Yes. Yes, this isn't the first time I've spoke out. 3 weeks ago when I found out who got killed, I felt like I was brain dead because that name bored in my mind from my childhood. They put that gag order on. You didn't hear anything. You heard about it last year. You didn't hear about it.
Oh,
and
we're
recently,
a little behind. Wait, we were past that part.
I just found absolutely not.
This was somebody who just got charges on them, and he was going to do everything he could to make sure she couldn't testify. That is clear. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, you guys. The list is long. They're just, some of them aren't ready to speak. And we're hoping that maybe from having this conversation today, they'll feel that there is a way that they can speak and that we can get them in touch with somebody that can help say the kind of man that this is. Because that's what's important. Not tearing down the man that saved his daughter, but the man that caused all this to begin with. Many times over to many different people.
I just ask that my friends come forward and speak out. You girls have no idea how much you can help this little girl and this family. And I'm asking you to do it. We've been friends a long time, girls. Come forward.
She's talking to her own friends
It's time.
because they know.
So this is a call to action.
I can't pin this. I don't know why it won't let me pin it.
They're all grown now. They're all grown. They know the accusations, yes. That's what she thinks too, Glenn. The more people that speak up, the better. Also you got to remember that there's a certain taking back your power from a person too. That's important, but she's not doing that for that. She's doing this just for that little girl. And even coming up here and telling her story is beyond commendable. It's brave, and I know it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, but by me coming forward.
Okay, Michelle's channel is now pinned in the chat. Fostler moved this lady's area. Fostler moved within walking distance from her house, and she didn't know it until the Aaron Spencer story broke. Michelle's channel, her YouTube channel, is pinned in the chat. The QR code that I'm putting in the corner right now is the QR code for the Spencer Family Give, Send, Go to pay for therapy and other incidentals for the family who have been through hell and back and will continue to be for you know how long if you've been through it.
I want to empower them to come forward.
And hopefully this helps. Hopefully this
We as women start standing up for each other and coming forward,
Preach.
especially in a situation like this, where there were multiple victims.
Hundreds, I bet.
Again, I'm going to say I was not the only one. My friends back then and we talked about these. We talked about the situations that we went through with him, with that same man. I want them to be empowered to come forward and tell what happened, tell their story. They don't have to put their face out on Front Street. Come forward, reach out to this family and tell them what happened. Be a witness.
I'm gonna take one for the team here, and I'm gonna say, don't reach out to the family. They have enough to deal with. I'm gonna put my email scrolling along the bottom. If you are a victim, feel free to email me, and I will put you in touch with the right people to contact to tell your story, to get, I don't know, his defense team involved, their private investigator, something. You don't need to tell me who you are. You don't need to come on my channel and talk about it. But there is strength in numbers, and there is a certain amount of power that you can get back. And you're not a victim, you're a survivor. And what happened to you does not have to define you. And again, this man is dead. So you're safe now. But we have to teach our daughters that this kind of stuff needs to be talked about. I mean, because of my experience with these cases that I handled, I was always very, I talked about this with my kids from the time they were very, 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 very young. Because they need to know that people can't touch them, and they need to know that they can come to you with anything. And it is so brave of this girl who, when she was 15, she's now obviously an adult, probably in her late 50s, to tell her mother at the age of 15. So many survivors do not ever disclose until years later because they just can't process it. And Aaron Spencer's daughter also disclosed, thank God.
A character witness to his past criminal behavior and show how far back it goes. Help this family. Help this little girl not lose her dad because he was protecting her against the same thing we went through, you went through, I went through. It's only fair to this little girl.
They were contacting Aaron some day after reporting the fundraisers. That's what I was telling her about on the phone. I think that they do know, but we'll just leave that where it is. How did he have access? Well, he got in a position of power by being in law enforcement, a position of trust, even at the time, what we would call school resource officers. And he used that. He used that to get to the most vulnerable people. And it worked, like it does many times over. But the thing is he didn't just start this. This is a pattern of stories that we are hearing from state to state all the way back.
Michelle, have you heard from other survivors?
I think I'm missing some of these things here.
So take this a little bit more.
Hopefully
forward.
so.
But I know some of you have heard us talking about that area, and how is she going to recover? How are any of them going to recover? They were forced into that situation that night. They had no choice. None. The law had already failed them. I think that is one of the reasons they slept that gag order down.
Probably so.
But I know some of you have heard us talking.
I'm going to show you another reason why I think they slapped that gag order down. Wait for it, because I'm just getting started.
About that area and the corruption as well. There's a lot of people in that area, in that community, that have done a lot of really bad things, you guys. I think that's one of the reasons people are scared about coming forward, is because of how deep this goes.
There's corruption in every town, I'm sure. Some more than others.
But hitting this close to home,
Exactly.
exactly like what you just said. If it doesn't fit the sheriff's narrative, he's going to come after you.
I know.
You want to share that?
Believe me, they already have.
Oh, because
You
she
wanna tell
lives
me
in
that?
Lonoke County. She lives in Lonoke County?
Well, my son was targeted. The same situation that Aaron experienced with the paraphernalia.
Oh, the old pipe in the squad
My
car.
son experienced that as well. He is currently on probation.
Oh,
Planting.
so they set him up too.
And down below, my friend Samantha, she's actually from there, and she was telling me about cases where that has happened time and time and time again.
How they make their money.
Yeah, to think that somebody can get that much power to just ruin somebody's life like
That's how they make their money, she said. That's how they make their money. They plant paraphernalia on a person or in the car where they put them, and that's how they make their money. This ain't their first rodeo. How long you think this has been going on?
that is scary.
That's how they make their revenue for this county.
And
There
that
is a
has to
history
stop.
of corruption. Absolutely.
I don't know if they ever had an idea how their father was. They do know the accusations against their father, though.
Well, I don't know who this is that's asking this question about the children being grown, and did they ever know about his behavior? My guess is that they experienced the same situation.
The state that we're talking, well, two states, Indiana and Arkansas. Well, I know that this has not been easy on you, but I want to thank you for coming up and telling us your story. I know that it took a lot, and I know the reasons you did it. So thank you.
I want to empower others to do it. This family needs all the help they can get at this point.
100%, 100%. So let's see if we can find anybody else that wants to talk on this, because if there was ever a reason, it's right now. There was ever a time, it's right now.
I knew a lot of girls there. And if they're on here, or if you have family that live there, please ask them to come forward. By me telling my story, they know who I am. Contact me if you want. Contact me on Facebook. You know my family that's there. Contact them to contact me if you don't have my contact information. Reach out to me. I'll tell you what's going on. Please come forward. That's all I ask.
You're right, Lauren. She is very
God
strong
bless
for
her.
telling us. She really is. That's why it's important. Again, we have to make sure that everyone that hears the story knows the kind of man that Aaron had to save his daughter from. We need to make sure that they see that in the courtroom too.
Well, I'm not ashamed or afraid to go right up into that courthouse. I am not. I offered to do it.
I know.
She'll testify.
Give me a lie detector test. Put me up in that courtroom. And I'm
Here's the thing also, in a lot of states, there's no statute of limitation on grape, as I have to say on YouTube, although strike me. No statute of limitation. So it might not be too late. Well, he's dead. So there's not going to be any more criminal charges against Fostler. But if you are a victim of someone and you've never come forward, may not be too late for you to receive justice. Because back in the 80s, nobody would listen to you. They just thought you were, a slut. Right? Remember how many cold cases we went through in the 80s on Long Island of missing girls that we thought maybe connected to the suspected Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann? And how many parents were brushed off and told, oh, she's just a runaway. She's 14, 15. She's just a runaway. We're not going to take it seriously. She does live in Lonoke, Michelle says. So she can't go to the sheriff.
Gonna tell everybody what he is.
Didn't care in the 90s either, says Buddha Girl.
Is there anything else that I haven't brought up that you wanted to bring up?
Well, there's other things that are going on, but that's probably all I can talk about right now.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were. I know how I get when
Lonoke
I
County.
talk about my past. I'm exhausted from it. So I can only imagine what this was like for you.
Well, it's not right to be quiet. The right thing to do is to come forward and tell the truth.
I think that a lot of people are used to not rocking the boat, so to speak. But this is a boat that needs rocking.
Yeah.
It's for the right reasons.
I did that for 45 years. I put this whole situation in the back of my mind and didn't think about it. My family, my close family, my children, they didn't know about it until he popped up. They
Wow.
were here.
She never told her family.
They were here for me when I broke down and found out he was here. It's absolutely insane.
I can't even imagine what that was like for you to find out he was there and he's been there. I can't even imagine.
Why was he here?
That's
What brought him here?
Right.
That's the
What
question.
brought him there? In the wife's obituary, it said that
That's
they
the
moved
question.
there for his military career, remember? That's what they said. They moved to Arkansas for her husband's military career. They were like high school or college sweethearts. And this survivor is telling us that his wife was in the room when he was doing what he did to her in the bedroom in 1981.
But I think there's a lot of places that he's been between Indiana and Arkansas,
Right?
with being a trucker and so on. So I think this is a lot far reaching than people have any idea of.
Oh, he was a trucker too?
And it's time, guys. It's time. It's time. Oh, if you guys missed this, don't worry. I'll repost it when we're done. I'll put the live up on the page so that you guys could hear all of this from the beginning. I understand 100% that you guys may have come in and parts of it through. We are talking about what Aaron Spencer had to deal with that night to save his daughter. The man behind the mask of a monster, because he had a mask on to hide that monster. We need to know who Aaron Spencer dealt with that night in order to save his daughter and why it was so important. Because he literally was a monster hiding behind a mask and a badge for years. It's time to tear that off.
A badge.
If Aaron hadn't stopped him, that little girl probably wouldn't be here today.
Yep.
I have no doubt about that.
Yep.
As someone that had to run from him, she would not be here today. He should be getting the Father of the Year award.
That's right.
I completely agree with you there.
Preach.
Yeah, he did. I have a whole tab on Aaron Spencer on my TikTok page, you guys. You can view all my videos and coverage on there so you get a little bit more information on it. But I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know how hard this was for you, and I want to thank you very much.
That's
for
kind of
coming
where
and
it
doing
ends.
this.
So just give Michelle, I pinned her YouTube channel in the chat. Give Michelle a like and a sub on this video, because when Ellen sent this to me this morning, I've been in the rabbit hole all day and I just can't. You can see it in my face. I just can't. I can't shake this. This is really horrific. The QR code is in the corner to the Give, Send, Go for the Spencer family who need money for treatment for their daughter and for many, many other things. And yeah, Spencer was the first person to do something. Let's go back to the chat for a minute before we move on to the next horror that we're going to discover in Lonoke County and why exactly this judge might have granted a gag order. Very unconstitutional one, according to the Arkansas Supreme Court. Because you can let me know what you think. Toasty Buns, thanks for gifting a membership. You're awesome. Tara said, the hearing you played yesterday, you covered in 2023. Yes, I did. I had specific reasons for playing it yesterday. I'm not sure. What do you mean? No, I did not. Actually, I did not cover that in 2023. That is from 2023. However, I did not start covering the Karen Reed case until January of 2024. So I covered it at some point after that. But the point of showing that hearing again was to show that Lally's been lying since all the way back then, and he's still lying to the court now. Thank you for watching. Skybell says they 8 months and learning more and more. Thank you. This is a shame. I know. Skybell. Music to My Soul says, okay, if there's a trigger warning, I need to bow out. My dog had surgery yesterday. It went well, but things have been emotional. I'm sorry for your dog. You can bow out. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your super chat. And for thanking me for the trigger warning. I feel like I owe that to you guys because, usually what the stuff we talk about is hard, but this is especially hard. This has shook me. Thank you, Mrs. Bouquet, for your super sticker. Julie says, Bob and Ali Mata have been covering this. I wonder if they've seen this video. I have no idea. Thank you, Julie, for your super chat. Somebody brought this to me this morning. It was just posted yesterday, so I don't know. Kelly gifted 5 memberships. Kelly Applegate, thank you so very much. Kelly says, I'm here to support Aaron Spencer. I'm about 15 minutes behind, but this is important stuff for Aaron Spencer. Thank you. Blitzen says, probably scrubbed by cops. They protect each other no matter what. Yeah, he's off the internet. Can't find out much about him at all. Virginia says, total POS. I'm so sick over this. Thanks, Virginia. Norman says, if you don't protect your children, child services take them from you. And when you do protect them from a monster, you get charged. WTF. Welcome to Arkansas. Anna says, is she allowed to be called as a defense witness? I imagine that she will. Oh, this woman. I don't know. I don't know. The judge might find it to be too prejudicial for the jury. We'll have to wait and see. The trial's been pushed to January, so I'm sure there's a lot of motions that are going to be made before then. But if enough people come forward, would this DA ever drop the charges? I don't know. We can hope. Cheryl gives it 5 memberships. Thank you, Cheryl Evans Smith. A lot of new members today. Tony says, my kid's teacher was arrested for SA kids at their school during sleepovers in his classroom. He had a private pilot's license and a passport and was let out on bail. He fled, never been found. Horrific. Horrific. I mean, oftentimes these people want to be in positions of power because they have access to children. Not always, but a lot. Smurfana check, email sent. MFR's high school photo. All right. You guys are on it. Okay. Some of you may have known him in high school. Thank you, Smurfana, for sending that to me. When you guys want to get something done, we get it done. We're a good team, you and me. Hang on. Let's talk amongst ourselves for a minute. He graduated high school in 1975, and here is his high school photo. Michael George Fosler, basketball, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Baseball, 1, 2. T2, I don't know what that means. Golf. Oh, look, he played basketball. He played golf for all 4 years. He was a letterman for 4 years. He was an officer. He was a yearbook staff, choir, and he was in the boys' pep club. Looks like he had red hair. I don't know what high school this was. Was it Hamlet? Is there a Hamlet High? I don't know. Thank you, Smurfana. Helena says, this is way worse than we imagined. I'm shocked. Me too. Virginia says she has to walk away now. That's okay. Thanks for your super chat. Julie says, all these women should pull together and go march in front of that courthouse when the trial starts. Hold huge signs telling everyone who this man was. I mean, you guys had signs outside the Norfolk County Superior Court for Karen Reed, who deserves freeing now. take all that energy and let's focus it somewhere else. Thanks, Julie. Kelly says microfiche. Wow, that is 60s, 70s type era. Yeah, some of these articles are from the 70s because they're not really digital. Jessica said, I'm a survivor on my nightmare, never got prosecuted because at the time, little kids weren't believed. The older person was believed over a kid. Free Aaron Spencer. Thank you. It's true. Lauren D Designs, thank you for 50. That's incredibly, incredibly generous of you. She says, my hero, you're a warrior, Melanie. Don't make me cry. I'm going to try not to cry. Thank you so much. Piper's mom says, I lost faith in the church after what a cover up by this case. Exactly what he deserved. I just watched the Camp case you did. O'Brien Camp. Yeah. Shaking my head. What is wrong with the justice system? I don't know. But, you know, some of these places think nobody's paying attention and it's never going to get out. And I guess thank God for YouTube. Thank you, Crazy Cat Lady. I have linked Michelle's channel. I've pinned it to the chat so you can find it. Jojo says, please remember, you are not a victim. You are a survivor. That's right, Jojo. Lola the good dog. This monster was relentless and had no fear of getting caught. Thank God he was finally stopped. So admire the strength of all the survivors. Arachnid says, this makes me think of the judge and the sheriff. Yeah, that's in that one's in Kentucky, right? Aaron Spencer is out on bail, yes, but it was $150,000 bail. Fostler was out on $5,000, right? Shelly Max says Aaron Spencer took out the garbage. Thanks, Arachnid. Gail, aka G-Bird, says, girl power, need to be brave and stand together and support each other. Ladies, you're not alone. We are all here for you. Free yourself from this personal nightmare you've suffered too long. Preach this. Smurfana said, what if she was victim number one? Could he have followed her there? I have questions. I don't know. I don't know. It's a good point. And then he was lurking in the shadows for all of those years. Let's go. Let's get to the, you know what, the wife's obituary, which I have somewhere here. Let me close this. Because there was some information in her obituary that said when they moved to Arkansas. So give me a second. So his wife, her name was Jane Ann Fosler, died June 14th of 2023 after an 8-year battle with cancer. She was born September 17th, 1959 in Chicago. Second. Tony said, thank you, Melanie. I too have always told my kids they do not have to allow anyone, including family, even me, to hug or touch them. Saying no is important for kids to learn. You're my spirit animal. I know. You remember how when we were young, my Gen Xers, come, you know, give Uncle so-and-so a hug. Come give Uncle so-and-so a hug. Come, you know, hug your Aunt Mary. Play the piano for grandma. You remember? You're right. Don't ever force your kids to kiss and hug anybody. Just want to read through this and see if it tells me when they moved. Jane was a beloved sister, wife, mother, grandma, aunt, and friend. Jane was an active member at Our Savior Lutheran Women's Missionary League, Our Savior Lutheran Women's Missionary League, and Tuesday morning ladies Bible study. She was able to work her dream job at Arkansas Children's Hospital for 15 years. She loved God, caring for her family and grandchildren, reading James Patterson books. Well, isn't that ironic? How many James Patterson books were about young girls being held in underground bunkers and things like that? watching birds, helping others, gardening, and baking. After what that survivor just told us about this woman being in the room when she was maybe 22 years old, Jane Fostler, watching what her husband did to this babysitter. I have zero problem mentioning her name, but a simple Google search would tell you who she is anyway. She was preceded in death by her parents, David Frederick Jesuit and Jean Frances Jesuit. I mean, is Jesuit their religion or is Jesuit their name? Mimi to TG, you only read super chats? Are you new here? Are you new here? No. I put up lots of comments during the stream. Did you just show up? If you have nothing nice to say, you can leave. I have this much patience today. This much. Where they have the Jesuit faith? Block Island is so lovely this time of year. She had arrangements in Arkansas and in Indiana. In Hamlet, Indiana, she had a service, and also in Cabot at Our Savior Lutheran Church in Cabot. I also found a live stream of her funeral on YouTube. You can find that too. With Michael Fosler working the room. I thought it said somewhere in here that they moved to Arkansas because of his military career. A second. They relocated in 1995 from Indiana due to Mike's military career. So they relocated in 1995, which would have been, let's see, our survivor said she had to leave Hamlet in 1981, and her mother had to report her as a runaway so that she could go live with her dad in Arkansas. And then 14 years later, he moved right around the corner within walking distance from that survivor. 14 years later. When was he the chief of police in Hamlet, Indiana? Because, or whatever, the town cop. She said he was the town cop in 1981. Is there some other reason why he had to leave Indiana? I have questions. So anybody who's in Cabot, apparently he spends a lot of time in Cabot as well. There may be some survivors also in Cabot. Maybe something happened in Indiana. Yeah, that's not a coincidence, right? I don't think. They've got 2 daughters, both of Cabot, and granddaughters. Wow. So I guess the family still lives there, and that is one of the reasons why our survivor didn't want to speak out, and she thinks her friends don't want to speak out either because they still live there. Right? Thank you for liking Michelle's video. Okay. Let's go to something else I found in my deep dive. Buckle up, buttercups. This is a federal lawsuit filed against the sheriff of Lonoke County. This goes back to, this was filed in 2024. I'm going to read through it a little bit. This is what they call a 1983 action. We've been talking about 1983 actions for a violation of civil rights. This was filed in In August 27th of 2024. So this was filed after Fostler's arrest, but I think before he was let out on bail, because I think he was let out on bail in September 2024. Then Spencer's daughter was kidnapped in October, and then that was the date of death of Fostler. So listen to this, folks. Her name is Jane Doe. She's the plaintiff, and she has a federal civil rights lawsuit against John Staley, who's the sheriff of Lonoke County, Robert Wakefield, William Shipp, Micah Dukes, Christopher Frey, aka Jake, Robert Godwin, and Casey Whaley, and Doe's number 1 through 10, for what happened to her in, you guessed it, the Lonoke County Jail. This is the first amended complaint for SA, civil rights violations, assault, battery, civil actions by crime victim, and declaratory relief and demand for a jury trial. I'm going to tell you what was going on, according to this plaintiff, in the Lonoke County Detention Center. Are you ready? Comes now plaintiff Jane Doe by and through her attorney, Christopher Baker of the James Law Firm, and in their first amended complaint against defendants states as follows. Introduction. Imagine a place where the lines between right and wrong are blurred beyond recognition. Barter and trade between the citizens has shifted from a government-backed currency and been replaced by illicit drug trade and sexual favors. The ruling class routinely broadcasts their messages of power and misinformation to the ruled to consistently infiltrate the will and conscience of the citizens. A place where secret rendezvous are coordinated between those who control and the objects of their lustful desires. In this world, intimate invasions of personal space are commonplace. Women are enticed to bathe together. If you're at work or somewhere where you don't have headphones on, you might want to put your headphones on, or if you have me on the TV in your nail salon or hair salon, I'm going to give you a chance to take it down while I take a sip. Hold on. Jamie says this is exactly like the Mickey Steins case. He was a sheriff and he killed the judge, right? I think there was some speculation that, well, we know what was going on in the chambers and the stuff. Yeah. How do you find something that I pinned? Just scroll to the top of your chat. It should be pinned up there. I know. I see green eyes on the ground. I was shaking when I found all this stuff too. I have stopped shaking a little bit, but like my eyes were burning. I was like tears. Like and then wait, because it gets like, you can't imagine that it gets worse, because I had already read this lawsuit, but it's going to get worse. Okay. Ready? Women are enticed to bathe together, to lather and soap one another while onlookers fulfill their voyeuristic fantasies. A place where young women are seen, selected, and sampled for the ultimate pleasure of the kings. This may sound like a tale of corruption and abuse fit for a Hollywood production, but this is not 50 Shades of fiction. These horrors are not imagined. They are the real lived experiences for women trapped within the walls. Welcome to the Lonoke County Detention Facility. That may be the best first page of a lawsuit that I have ever read, and I read a lot of lawsuits to you. Number 2, Roman 2, jurisdiction and venue. The core questions in this case relate to the violation of civil rights under the federal Constitution. Accordingly, jurisdiction is appropriate under 28 U.S.C. section 1331, in that it's a federal question. District courts have original jurisdiction of civil actions commenced under Title 42, 28 U.S.C. 1343, civil rights violations. These are some of the causes of action that Karen Reed will also have against the county, the state, we'll see. Here, the claim is for alleged deprivation of rights and is being pursued under 42 U.S.C. 1983 and remedies under 42 U.S.C. 1988. Accordingly, the district court has appropriate jurisdiction of this claim. Supplemental jurisdiction over related state law claims exist in this matter because they are part of the same case in controversy. And the district court has original jurisdiction under 28 U.S.C. 1343, 28 U.S.C. 1331, 28 U.S.C. 1367. And then they get into venue because all the defendants would reside within the district. Everything that happened to the plaintiff happened in the district. And they supplement it with the Arkansas code that coincides with the federal statutes. Number 3, the parties. Plaintiff Jane Doe is 26 years old, a natural person, and a resident of Pulaski County, Arkansas. She is the mother to a young boy, and she works daily to improve and provide for her family. At the time of the events complained herein, Ms. Doe was a ward of the Lonoke County Detention Center in Lonoke, Arkansas. Defendant John Staley is named in both his official and individual capacity. Staley operated under the color of law as the sheriff during the time of the events complained herein. Staley remains as the elected sheriff of Lonoke County. Staley is a proper defendant because he was responsible for the maintenance, control, and supervision of the Lonoke Detention Facility and for establishing the policies, procedures, and customs by which its officers and employees conduct their official duties, which include the duties forming the basis for this action. He still is the sheriff, by the way. We saw him do, I think he had a press conference or he gave a statement after Aaron Spencer's arrest. Additionally, he is ultimately responsible for the protection and safekeeping of the wards of his facility. Defendant Staley is an administrator as referenced in this complaint. Defendant William Shipp is named in both his official and individual capacity. Shipp operated under the color of law as the jail administrator during portions of the events complained. Shipp is a proper defendant because as jail administrator, he was responsible for the maintenance, control, and supervision of the Lonoke Detention Facility and for establishing the policies, procedures, and customs by which its officers and employees conduct their official duties, which include the duties forming the basis of this action. Additionally, he is ultimately responsible for the protection and safekeeping of wards of his facility. Defendant Shipp is an administrator as referenced in this complaint. Defendant Christopher Fry, F-R-E-Y, aka Jake, is named in both his official and individual capacity. During the events of this action, Fry was operating under the color of law while being employed by the County of Lonoke. Fry is a proper defendant among other infractions because he conspired and directly participated in conduct that furthered the SA of a young woman. Defendant Robert Wakefield is named in both his official and individual capacity. Wakefield operated under the color of law as a jail officer during portions of the events complained. Wakefield is a proper defendant because he conspired with co-workers to facilitate improper access and control of Ms. Doe and retaliated against her after the SA was reported. Additionally, he is ultimately responsible for the prosecution and safekeeping of wards of his facility. Defendant Micah, M-I-C-H-A, Micah Dukes is named in both his official and individual capacity. Dukes operated under the color of law as a jail officer during portions of the events complained. Dukes is a proper defendant because he conspired with co-workers to facilitate improper access and control of Ms. Doe and retaliated against her after the SA was reported. Defendant Robert Godwin is named in both his official and individual capacity. During the events complained of in this action, Godwin was operating under the color of law as a jailer employed by the County of Lonoke. Godwin is a proper defendant because he conspired with coworkers and took direct action to SA a ward of the Lonoke facility. Godwin was criminally charged and convicted for the events complained herein. Defendant Casey Whaley is named in both his official and individual capacity. During the events complained in this action, Whaley was operating under the color of law as a jailer employed by the county of Lonoke. Whaley is a proper defendant because he conspired with coworkers and took direct action to SA a ward of the Lonoke facility. Godwin was criminally charged and convicted for the events complained herein. Okay, so out of all the people that we mentioned, 2 of them were criminally charged and convicted. And then they sue a whole bunch of does who they don't know. Anybody who witnessed it, but they don't know the names of, who employed there, looked the other way. They looked the other way. Here's the statement of facts. Buckle up. Trigger warning again. Statement of facts. Lonoke County operates a criminal detention facility that houses detainees accused or sentenced for criminal offenses. Footnote 1 says the Arkansas Department of Corrections Office of Criminal Detention Facilities Review Coordinator Minimum Standards for Adult Criminal Detention Facilities is attached here too as Exhibit A. On or about August 23rd of 2023, okay, so this wasn't that long ago, Ms. Doe was transferred from Saline County to the custody of the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office and was housed within the Lonoke County Sheriff Detention Center. On or about September 9th, 2023, Ms. Doe reported misconduct resulting in the arrest of Whaley and Godwin. So that would be a little more than 2.5 weeks. That went on for before they were arrested. Ms. Doe was present in the facility and during her stay developed a swelling of her leg. To address the swelling, she was brought into the intake area that was being operated by Officer Whaley. Oh, it's Saline, like Celine Dion. Oh, Saline? Really? They call it Saline? Saline County. Oh, Green Knight Southern Ground, thank you. You know I like to pronounce things correctly. So, Saline County. You're the best. Love you, girl. While in intake, Ms. Doe, who was under the belief she might be leaving to go to a medical facility, retrieved from items from beneath a bench. Whaley stared at Ms. Doe bending over and commented to the effect of, "Oh, girl, I like the way you bend over." Whaley began to share personal information with Ms. Doe to gain her confidence and trust. Whaley let Ms. Doe know that he had a child, that he had just gone through a divorce, and that he was struggling in his personal life. Further during the process, Whaley dropped Ms. Doe a note and instructed her to read it when she went into the bathroom. The note, which was later seized by Lonoke County, informed Ms. Doe that she needed to perform favors and that changes to her charges in the computer would be made if she were to follow through with them. Whaley further made use of the knowledge that Ms. Doe had a small infant to pressure a new mother into unwelcome acts in order to see her child. After Ms. Doe returned from the bathroom, Whaley made his move. Whaley approached Ms. Doe and came chest to chest with her as he pressured her into kissing. Unprovoked and without consent, Whaley forcefully shoved his hand in between Ms. Doe's pants and her skin, past her underwear. And then there's a part of the sentence that I'm not going to read with what he did with his fingers. Whaley later remarked that he wanted to blank Ms. Doe. I'm not going to read it to you. You can read it to yourself. After this nightmare interaction occurred, Ms. Doe was returned to a cell. These advances from Whaley continued and were condoned and supported by other facility officers. In a sickening display of support while Whaley was harassing Ms. Doe, Godwin came over a loudspeaker and taunted to Whaley a statement to the effect of, "Why don't you just kiss her already?" Further, during Ms. Doe's stay, both Whaley and Godwin played music, requested that the women strip naked, shower, and dance for their pleasure. Godwin, Whaley, Fry, and Does 1 through 10 were enticing the females to perform S acts, and in some instances exchanged consideration by providing cigarettes, vapes, and other items for abiding to their demands. Keep that, put a pin in that, the cigarettes and vapes that they were trading. In another instance, Whaley demanded that Miss Doe perform oral upon him, feeling like she had no choice but to comply. Ms. Doe performed the act that Whaley demanded. During these encounters, he further assaulted Ms. Doe by placing his hands on her, this, that, and the other thing against Ms. Doe's will. These predatory trips were premeditated by Whaley. Indeed, both Godwin and Whaley would at times utilize the facility intercom system to loudly communicate to the entirety of a pod their intentions. This is medieval. It's medieval. They would wait for the most opportune times when staffing was limited to do their crimes. In another encounter, shortly after returning from court, Godwin informed Ms. Doe that he was going to come pop her cell door so that Ms. Doe could S his D. Ms. Doe was terrified and felt sick from the predatory abuse. I feel sick reading about the predatory abuse. While standing in pill line, Ms. Doe obtained her medicine. Godwin forcibly placed his hand into her and pressed into her V. Godwin followed this action by making a S-type statement to Ms. Doe. After being subject to significant abuse at the hands of the facility's staff, Ms. Doe had a mental breakdown and began kicking her cell door. Dukes had Ms. Doe removed from the cell and questioned what was wrong with her. Dukes was then informed of the tormented actions that were taking place inside the facility's walls. Immediately after airing the situation, Dukes had Ms. Doe confined to a lockdown cell where she was alone and isolated. Being stuck in the cell, Ms. Doe was not allowed to make phone calls, effectively revoking her contact with the outside world. When Ms. Doe was temporarily released from lockdown, she attempted to call her mother for help. Upon hearing the looming conversation, Dukes hung up Ms. Doe's call and sent her back into isolation. Additionally, Wakefield, in another instance, forced Ms. Doe off the phone because she was intending to call for help. After attempting to report the misconduct, defendants took coordinated action to disallow Ms. Doe's phone privileges and prevent her from communicating with the outside world. Upon information and belief, the jail administration, Staley, and Shipp are required to be informed of any disciplinary actions taken against a detainee. Accordingly, procedures would dictate that they were directly aware of the restrictions of confinement, loss of phone, and other punishments being imposed. Alternatively, Staley and Shipp delegated their duties and responsibilities to subordinates with deliberate indifference to Ms. Doe's rights. Furthermore, after reporting the misconduct, defendants began to treat not only Ms. Doe, but almost all other female detainees differently and more harshly. Some of this behavior was evidenced by longer lockdown times, restricted recreation, and the withholding of basic items of medical necessity, such as feminine hygiene products. At the same time, male inmates appeared to be receiving recreation and other services as normal. Number 1, the actions taken were nothing short of grape. I forgot to X that out. Under Arkansas law, a person commits grape if he or she engages in SI or deviant SA with another person by forcible compulsion. Yeah, I can't really speak so freely here, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Deviant S activity means any act of S gratification involving the penetration, however slight, of the, well, you can read that for yourself, mouth of a person, by the this of a person or that of a person. So it doesn't have to be the actual act that some people would think of as SI, perhaps. Forcible compulsion under the Arkansas statute is defined as physical force or force. Physical force is defined as any bodily impact, restraint, or confinement, or the threat thereof. And then they go on to show how all of the things that this guy did fall under the definition of that statute in a textbook grape kind of way. A person commits SA in the third degree if the person engages in intercourse or deviant activity with another person who is not the actor's spouse, and the actor is employed with any county jail. The victim is in the custody of the jail, and the actor is in a position of trust or authority over the victim, and uses the position of trust or authority to engage in intercourse or deviant sexual activity. And then there's a footnote to the statutes. Section 2. I just go to see if there's any questions here. Lolo the Good Dog says, strengthen numbers, turns fear into anger, anger into action. Thank you for your 5. Give, Send, Go worked easily in the UK too. Thanks, Mel. Thank you. The QR code is up in the corner for anyone who would like to donate to the Spencer family, because when we feel helpless, that's what we do. We spread the word. Try and donate if we can. Thank you, Skybell, for giving another membership. Going off the rails, Jen says, as you often say, offenders offend on an average of 100 times before they get caught. There are so many more victims out there. Thank you for covering this. Thank you so much for your super chat, Jen. Tony gifted a membership. Thank you, Tony. Welcome to all the new members. Smurf Anna says, maiden name Jesuit. Ironic. Oh, really? I thought that was the religion. Okay. That was their maiden name? They moved in 1994, 95. Yes, I guess that crossed because they did move in 95. It said because of his military career, which I'm not buying. Jeannie for Karen Reed from Massachusetts governor says, just for you, Melanie, continue looking out for others and for yourself. I see the toll it takes and recognize you wouldn't have it any other way. You're doing the Lord's work. Thank you. Thank you, Jeannie. Cynthia says, I hope they get this monster's DNA. He could be tied to cold cases. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Gigi's engraving the silver bracelets now, and she gives it 10 memberships. Thank you, Gigi, for always being such a generous contributor to the channel. And then puts up a super chat with another 10. Says, I do not think even fire could burn this horrible trash. Literally threw up in my mouth. Brought back a memory from high school. Not able to control the situation. Is a horrible feeling that you never forget. No. It's not 61 pages, the whole thing, Mitchell. It's 61 pages with exhibits. So the complaint itself is 26 pages. And I may skip around anyway. The policies, customs, and practices of the facility caused this harm. Sheriff Staley is a chief executive under the Arkansas Standards for Adult Criminal Detention Facilities. Footnote says, these are just all of the standards of the Arkansas Department of Corrections, which are attached. Detention facilities, hiring personnel are required to utilize the background investigation form by the Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training or its equivalent, and shall keep that form on file in the facility. Hired personnel are required to meet the medical and psychological standards, and evidence of their ability to meet such standards shall be kept on file at the facility. Based upon information and belief, defendants were not properly screened by a psychologist or psychiatrist prior to employment. Other facilities, such as Pulaski County, require such screening to occur prior to employment. In accordance with Arkansas standards, Staley was required to ensure that all of the facility's employees completed 16 hours of continuing education per year. Yes, this is Lonoke County, same county as Spencer. This is the Lonoke County Detention Center, and this lawsuit and the events therein occurred in August of 2023. This education may include annual training in suicide prevention, as assault, and other policy matters. Upon information and belief, defendants have not completed continuing education meeting the hourly requirements identified above. They did not complete the appropriate training. The facility was severely understaffed, lacked appropriate female officers, and left untrained individuals without supervision. Upon information and belief, officers Whaley and Fry were on probationary periods and were not being properly supervised by more senior jail staff. Further, information and belief indicate that no senior supervisors were present in the facility when these events took place. Effectively, the rookies had the keys to the kingdom. When a facility houses both males and females, the need for guards of both sexes is well known. Indeed, Arkansas standards require that there be both male and female jail personnel if female detainees are confined to the facility. The lack of proper personnel in the facility is deliberately indifferent to the needs created by known risks and harms within a correctional environment. The detention facility did not have to detain the individuals, but chose to do so willingly. The jail administrators, Staley and Shipp, were deliberately indifferent in failing to properly staff, maintain, and supervise the individual officers assigned to work at the jail and were responsible for any deficiencies in hiring personnel and staffing the facilities. Upon information and belief, requests for budget assistance are available, but were not made from the Staley or Shipp to available resources such as the state of Arkansas. And they say they didn't have the proper policies. Facility lacked proper policies related to the prohibition on officers bartering or trading in any manner with detainees and a proper procedure to report such violations. Even recommended policies under PREA, while not federally required, were wantonly ignored and remain unimplemented. Number 3, the jail seizes property and provides no due process. People have a constitutional interest in their property. Facilities are required to have specific search policies. Amanda says Staley doesn't care. She's local because he is basically doing the same to several employees there. Casey at Bat says the world is watching, loses. Mel is on you, and we thought TB was badass. Ha ha, hold on, Arkansas. We are on our way. We are on our way. Arkansas, just because some people, Arkansas is AR. AK is Alaska, just so you know. There's Gary Gulman does a bit about this. Gary Gulman does a bit. And it's great. And I've seen Gary Gulman in live, and he's hilarious, and I love him. I don't think Governor Huckabee has commented on this. That's why you guys are here. Everyone smash the like button while you're here. Share the stream out. The world needs to know about this. Lonoke has a policy for property, but during cell searches of the plaintiff's cell, those procedures were not followed. Indeed, upon returning from court, Ms. Doe's cell was shaken down by detention officers and personal property was taken. Specifically, paper notes that Ms. Doe previously informed her counsel were present and had now disappeared. These notes were Ms. Doe's property and contained information that she intended to provide to her lawyers. That property was protected and should not have been confiscated. No due process from the seizure was provided. Ms. Doe was not allowed to contest the seizure and was not notified of it either. 4, the defendants retaliated after the misconduct was reported. After the conduct was reported, the defendants' day-to-day actions and operations of the facility actions prior to and after the outcry were viciously different. For example, thank you, Karen. I'm gonna star that for later. That's a great comment, Karen DePasquale. For example, officers Dukes, Wakefield, Shipp, and Staley did not make general rounds within the pod. The pod was locked down for significant durations when prior to the outcry, the pod was not. When calling for assistance and supplies, Doe's responded from the tower with comments such as, "Why don't you ask your buddy Whaley? Oh, that's right. He's in jail because of you." Such a statement was not made prior to Ms. Doe reporting the SA. Similar comments were routinely made by staff toward the females expressing their animus for increased workloads, shift time, and the inconvenience of having to care for the day-to-day needs of Ms. Doe and other women inside the pod. The retaliatory actions of the Dukes and Wakefield silenced Ms. Doe from alerting the outside world to what was occurring inside of the facility and getting swift legal assistance. While confined in retaliation for her outcries, Ms. Doe was prevented from seeking corrective actions, filing grievances, and receiving medical assistance. Upon information and belief, defendants knowingly permitted correctional staff to threaten and harm plaintiffs and others. Staff routinely used derogatory slurs such as biatch, hooer, and others. You know what the real words are. Staff routinely withheld toilet paper and other toiletries. The withholding increased following the report of the misconduct. Section number 5. The officers conspired to fulfill their S-type fantasies. Defendants Whaley, Godwin, Fry, and Does 1 through 10 were plainly seeking S gratification through their misconduct complained herein. They sought the personal benefit of achieving and receiving personal pleasure, O's, and S-type entertainment. They furthered these interests by trying to obtain oral, groping, and having SI with wards of the facility. These are plainly their own interests. Well, such interests are civil violations and are not part of routine duties. It's unfortunate that we have to spell it out, right? The officers assisted one another by opening doors, monitoring cameras, which provided a lookout while moving about the facility, and facilitated the essay of the plaintiffs and others. Listen up if your mind has started to wander. Many of the events complained herein were recorded by the facility. However, Lonoke County has seized and has, at the time of this filing, refused to provide video of the incident in accordance with Arkansas information requests. Supervisors failed to properly review the actions and conduct of their subordinates, which is plainly visible to the facility's cameras. They've got video. Where do you think it is now? Has it been proctored? Has it been shredded? Is it in a drawer somewhere? Is it destroyed? And as a result of this, Ms. Doe has suffered and continues to suffer severe emotional distress, including but not limited to humiliation, depression, rage, anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, and post-traumatic stress. This goes on to enumerate each and every violation of her rights, her civil rights of due process because of the SA. We don't need to go through each and every one of them because I think you got the facts. And then in accordance with violation of the Arkansas Constitution as well. So there's the federal cause of action. And then there's the state cause of action, and they're all in the same. So they're, yeah, inverted and rehomed, maybe. Inverted and rehomed. But here, under this section where it says third cause of action, failure to supervise and train, they allege that the administrators of the jail failed to train their subordinates and or investigate and take any meaningful preventive measures that would prevent SA of female inmates, such as Ms. Doe, in a correctional setting, but failed to do so. Defendants' failure to implement effective preventative measures, seeking additional support, establish clear policies, and adequately train correctional staff was clearly unreasonable given the known circumstances and conditions of confinement for female detainees, including Ms. Doe. Further, defendants have had prior analogous incidents of SA and assault by jail staff like those that occurred here. For instance, in August of 2021, a Lonoke County jailer was arrested and charged for furnishing prohibited articles and SA in the third degree. Accordingly, defendants were on notice of foreseeable harm that could occur. So another Lonoke County jailer was arrested prior to these events in August of 2021. What's that, you say? Hold on. I think you're getting the gist here, right? Plaintiff demands a jury trial. This case is still ongoing in federal court. Let's take a look at Exhibit B. Hang on, because I'm going to have to scroll through this and it might make you dizzy, so hang tight. It's on a retired police officer's hard drive. Yeah, maybe that's exactly where it is. Oh, looky, looky. Here's an article from the rivervalleynow.com. I don't know, River Valley Now. Lonoke County jailer arrested and charged with furnishing prohibited articles and SA of the third degree in the third degree. This is an article from August 28th of 2021. Here's the media release. On August 8th of 2021, Lonoke County Sheriff's investigators launched a criminal investigation in reference to allegations of a female jailer who was suspected of bringing contraband into the jail and SAing female inmates. There's the mugshot. During the course of the investigation, probable cause was obtained by detectives to get an arrest warrant for a former jailer identified as 20-year-old Elizabeth Norman. The warrant issued was for 2 counts of furnishing prohibited articles and 2 counts of SA in the third degree. Norman resigned as this investigation began, but was subsequently arrested by detectives and booked into the Lonoke Police Department's jail. This was due to her previous employment as a jailer in the Lonoke County Detention Center. Norman was held with no bond until first appearance before the circuit court. Norman posted bond and is awaiting trial. Well, that article was back in August of 2021. But wait, there's more. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Well, what do you guys think happened to Elizabeth Norman? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. Anybody want to guess? First, let's look at her charges. Here are her charges. SA in the third degree. This goes back to September of 2021. Furnishing prohibited articles. And I think Chuck Graham, the prosecuting attorney, he's the prosecutor in Aaron Spencer too, maybe? You guys can tell me. State of Arkansas versus Elizabeth Kiana Norman. This is the criminal information. The criminal information for Michael Fosler, by the way, is sealed. Can't get it. It's not even redacted. It's just downright sealed. I, Chuck Graham, prosecuting attorney within and for the 23rd Judicial District of the state of Arkansas, which consists of Lonoke County, in the name of, by the authority of the state of Arkansas, on information, and accuse the defendant of the crimes of SA in the third degree, a Class C felony, 2 counts of that, and furnishing prohibited articles, a Class C felony, 2 counts of that. And here's when she did it, allegedly. Allegedly, she did it. State of Arkansas alleges that on or about May 29th, 2021 through July 1 of 2021 in Lonoke County, Arkansas, the defendant did lawfully and feloniously engage in S intercourse or deviate S activity with another person who is not the actor's spouse, and the actor is a mandated reporter. So there were 2 victims here of this jailer woman, and is in the position of trust or authority over the victim and uses the position of trust or authority to engage in SI or deviate S activity with another person, a Class C felony, against the peace and dignity of the state of Arkansas. And the other counts 3 and 4 did unlawfully, feloniously, and knowingly introduce a prohibited article into a correctional facility, a Class C felony in violation of the Arkansas Code, to wit, a vape pen and Tylenol PM against the peace and dignity of the state of Arkansas. It was the vape and the Tylenol PM. So put a pin in that for a sec. Because just when you thought it wasn't going to get any worse, it gets worse. Except, where did my screen go? Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. So that's what she did. Let's see what happened. Well, according to the court records, Lonoke County, here's the summary. She was charged with a felony on September 29th of 2021, several felonies actually, in Lonoke Circuit Court. The case is closed. Look who the judge was. Oh my goodness, can you believe it was Judge Barbara Elmore? Judge Barbara Elmore. What are the odds? Here are the offenses. SA in the third degree. She was 21 years old at the time. She pled guilty to one count of SA in the third degree, which is a felony. And then they agreed to drop all the other charges. Look, null pros, null pros, null pros on 7/11/2022. And look at what she got. 60 months of probation. 60 months of probation, 5 years of probation, no jail time, no suspended jail time, nothing. Must register as a sex offender and complete all registration requirements. Permanent no contact order with the victims. Well, we know how well that works. And there were 2 victims for her. Nice, right? And then at some point, she made a motion to be able to live in a house with a minor child. And they said, okay, no big whoop. That's cool. You can grape everyone you want in the prison. We don't care because Judge Elmore's got our back. Maybe, in my opinion. But there's more because that was in what, 2021, 2022. There's also a civil lawsuit in that case, which I'm going to find for you. Let's take a look at what happened to Casey Whaley and Robert Godwin, the 2 guys who were accused in that other federal lawsuit that we just read about. Let's see what happened to them. Because you can't make it up, folks. You can't make it up. Here you go. State of Arkansas versus Casey Whaley and Robert Godwin. This case was filed November 16th of 2023 in the Lonoke Circuit Court. Case is closed. And look who it is again, Judge Barbara Elmore. Can you believe it? What are the odds? You wonder why they're going to the death on Aaron Spencer? Maybe this is why. Maybe this is why they wanted a gag order on the Aaron Spencer case. You think? Well, let's take a look. Here's what happened to Godwin. His sexual assault in the 4th degree, they dropped it. Look, null pros. Dropped. He was 25 years old, this guy. 25 years old, Robert Godwin. 25. The offense date was July 3rd of 2023. They dropped it. The other guy, Casey Justin Whaley, was only 22. His offense date was September 1, 2023. Look, no pros. They dropped it. SA in the 4th degree, another charge for Robert Godwin. Dropped it. He didn't even have to plea. No pros. Another SA in the 4th degree for Casey Whaley. They dropped that one too. Look what they pled guilty to. Furnishing, possession, using, delivering prohibited articles. I guess it was for the vape. Negotiated a guilty plea in June 20th of 24. As did Casey. For bringing the vape in and bartering it for favors. And look what they got. No time. They didn't have to serve any time. They got 5 months of probation, supervised, 30 hours of community service, and they cannot work in law enforcement. What do you think about that? Amanda Erickson says this is the tip of the iceberg. And look at this. Well, remember how we got to read the criminal information on the other female jailer? Well, no, this is all sealed up. Can't see those documents. No documents for you. Sealed. They're all sealed up. Criminal information sealed. Was this done in secret too? Was this done in secret too? Yeah, all that stuff is sealed up. Remember how they arraigned Aaron Spencer in secret? I guess they got fired because it says they can no longer work in law enforcement, but they were jailers. So there's that. Good times in Lonoke County. Judge Elmore. Get out of jail free. Is it a little bit clearer now? Why maybe, just maybe, they're going so hard on Aaron Spencer? I don't know. Is it me? Am I crazy? Maybe. I may be crazy. Hold, please. Their secret is out, says Casey. Their secret is out. Beth Ellen says there's a LinkedIn profile for Mike Fosler saying he is a project manager in the Army, Cabot, Arkansas. Couldn't make that up either. Is it old? Is it updated? Karen says the recidivism rate for sexual offenders is almost 100%. The number of victims is probably astronomical. In therapy, my job is to help my clients become survivors instead of victims. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. You're doing the Lord's work. I have my email scrolling below. If anybody is a survivor or of Michael Fosler, feel free to reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the right people. Because I know you probably don't want to go to Sheriff Staley of Lonoke County after we just read about all the things he knew about and didn't do. And, all the things that the judge is involved in. I think the Arkansas Supreme Court said that this case should be taken away from Judge Elmore because she's the same judge who let Fostler out on bail. She's the one who's going to be trying Aaron Spencer's case. And just like in Massachusetts, any motion to recuse would be heard by Judge Elmore. And do you think she'd recuse herself? I doubt it. No love for the traveling trooper is physically sick, and for these poor people, I know. No love of the challenge. You were gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so very much. Big Dyslexic Energy says, I'd ask if Lonoke County was in the dark ages, but I fear the dark ages were better than this BS. Gigi's engraving the silver bracelets now. Thanks for your 10. Says, this is absolutely breaking my heart. The times you feel no one cares or will believe you, it is real and it is lonely. The light out of that darkness, my daughter with a master's degree. Oh, it's awesome. Big Dyslexic Energy on this season of Sesame Street, The Upside Down, Bev, Barb, Proctor, Lally, Tully, and Lonoke Jail. Learn their letters, FAFO, and visit the snark tank. Well done. Well done, BDE. I'll allow it. Oh, look, Karen Reed is free. Says, thank you for the link, Melanie. Michelle now has 1.72, 1,720 subscribers. That's amazing. That's amazing. Props to Michelle on getting that interview. Kraken Studio says, just when Massachusetts was horrific, Arkansas, hold my red Solo cup. Yep. How deep do you think it goes? Kylie says, I will never understand why a judge would hear and decide on a motion to recuse themselves. It makes no sense to me. There was one case that we covered. I think it was in Florida where it went to another judge. And I don't remember, or was it like the Robert Tellis case where it was heard by a different judge? I don't remember. Maybe that was in Las Vegas. Clinton Deep says, Kraken Studio. Yeah. In the show notes below this video, you will find a link to another creator who has done some amazing, amazing videos, deep diving into the corruption in Lonoke County. Let me pull up his page so you can also go there, but the link is below in the show notes. Give me a second to pull it up. Where is that? Hold, please. All right, the creator's name is Carnage on Ice. Here's what the page looks like. It is linked below the show notes. And boy, did he do. I'm assuming that he's local because he did such a deep dive into this. Not only on the Spencer case, but on all of the lethal legacy of Lonoke County. I mean, there's a million parts to it. Carnage on Ice. Check it out if you want to get deep into the lore of Lonoke County. There's so much here. Far deeper dive than I could ever do on this. Oh, you know, that's so funny because Allie reached out to me yesterday from Defense Diaries and said that I was in that documentary. I didn't even know there was a documentary, and I didn't know that they used my content. And isn't it interesting how, what's it on? Hulu? How big giant production companies can just steal your content, use it in their documentary, and not ask your permission. Because I haven't watched it, and I heard it was in like episode 3 or something, and I think it's on Hulu. Interesting how they feel like they can just do that. I don't know. It's not cool. I don't think. I think if you want to use someone's content and you're a big production company and you're going to air it on a giant streamer, you should first of all get a release from the content creator whose content you want to use, and then, you know, pay them maybe fair use. They will pay if I take legal action. Well, good thing I have no time on my hands. But that's BS, don't you think? First of all, if you're going to do it, don't do it to a lawyer. Like, who do you think you are? No, they didn't ask me. They didn't credit me. Nothing. I heard I was in it only because Defense Diaries, Allie told me. I wouldn't have known. I don't know. I don't know if it's good. I haven't watched it. Did anybody watch it? Oh, it happened to Emily too? Happened to Emily Baker too. She didn't give permission to. Who do they think they are? You can't copyright strike them because they're not showing it on YouTube, right? They're showing it on Hulu. So how do you copyright strike something that they're showing on Hulu or Netflix? It's gross. Artists need to get paid. Yeah, they had reached out to me to do the Karen Reed documentary. And I said, okay, you know, what you want to interview me? You want me to travel to Dedham on my own dime? You're not going to travel me there. And then you want to interview me and you don't want to pay me. And then you want to use my content and you don't want to pay me for my content. And you want me to sign this really long contract? How about no? How about no? Because really, what's the upside for me? You can edit me to look however you want and then just use my content in perpetuity for no money? No. No. Sorry. I work for free for, you know, on YouTube. People watch me for free, but you are a big production company and you don't get to do that. I don't have time for that, AT1. I don't have time. But thank you. I don't even know. I think it's like I'm on there for 2 seconds maybe. I don't know. But it's just wrong. Artists need to get paid. Listen, you know how many actors make a living wage? Like 2%. Like 2% of actors that are working actors make a living wage. Like it's insane. Bubsy said there are judges that recuse themselves from cases. We must shine a light on those who don't. I don't even think there's been a motion made yet for Judge Elmore to recuse herself. But I think I've pointed out some pretty good reasons why maybe, just maybe, she's not the right judge for this case. What say you? This just shakes me to the core. How about you? Let's for those who may be tuning in late, going to put up again the older pictures of Fostler in case there are any victims out there who don't know what he looked like now compared to what he looked like then, because there's at least one victim who's come forward from 1981. Blasted out there. Here's some earlier photos back when he was the town cop of Hamlet, Indiana. And a wedding picture. His wife looks like she's about very young when they got married. I don't know. Crazy. Tick, tick, boom. And then we have the more recent picture. And that is him on the right side. On the left is Aaron Spencer with the turkeys. A more recent photo. Everybody needs to smash the like button because, you know, it really helps the algorithm and all. That would be awesome. Help a girl out. I'm going to go back and redo the thumbnail to add Fosler's picture so that anybody who may see the thumbnail in their scrolling may recognize him and may come forward. And that would be awesome. There's power in numbers. He was born in 1957. She was born in 1959. His date of birth is 9/13/57. Somebody found his gravestone. There's like a thing called findagrave.com. Who knew? I didn't know. I didn't know. So the jailers who were abusing the female inmates got a slap on the wrist by Judge Elmore. No time served and 5 years probation each. Yes. Are you angry? Thank you, Laura Long, because I was so angry today that I needed to share my anger with you. Sometimes I come across as a little bit harsh, but I'm outraged. I'm outraged. We even have an emoji for that for the members. We are outraged. We used it in Karen Reed's case, and we're using it now. Gigi, thank you for your $100 super chat. It says, thanks for all you did for the survivors of the Catholic Church. P.S. I also went to Catholic schools. Love what you do and appreciate you so much. You reminded me so much of my little sister Beth, who passed away with breast cancer at the age of 33 in 2004. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's nothing like a sister. If you know, you know. Thank you. Thank you, Gigi's engraving the silver bracelets. You're very generous. Thank you so much. Yes, Lola the good dog. I think Elmore is the only judge for the county. She is the only one in that building. We looked that up once. And it's true. The only judge in the building. So I don't know. Maybe they need to move it. eBay Warhol. Hi, Tracy. Says you need to watch Trial 4. It's been going on since the 90s. That's Massachusetts, though, right? That is Rosemary Scapiccio representing Sean Ellis. And I think he was tried 4 times in Massachusetts, right? All right. I know this was a lot, you guys, a lot. The QR code for the Spencer Give, Send, Go is in the corner if you care to donate. I'll just read to you before we wrap what the Good Give, Send, Go is to be used for. There's a long, a long description on the page, but it says, the purpose of opening this campaign is to help the Spencer family feel secure in some way during a very challenging, uncertain time. From the original assaults to the night of the kidnapping and now dealing with mistrust in the local justice system that didn't protect their daughter while persecuting her father, a combat veteran who was forced to. The Spencers have a lot of trauma to work through. They've been spending hundreds of dollars a week on different therapies for their daughter and themselves, all suffering with severe PTSD from the events that have transpired. These therapies have been helpful, but they have a long road to healing ahead of them, and I would like to take as much financial burden off them as possible. I believe this was written by Aaron's sister-in-law, so Heather's sister. They've been so humbled by the donations they've received for Aaron's legal defense, but we were not anticipating how much it would all end up being, especially after needing to fight against the gag order on top of a criminal defense. Please consider donating to their livelihoods as their journey to healing will go beyond Aaron's verdict. And please, above all else, keep them in your prayers. Pray for justice, pray for peace, and for healing. Thank you. And there was an update that was just posted on July 31st that says legal expenses are still stacking up. And they need expert witnesses. There's a cost to that. So with the intention of being transparent, your donations are being used for both Aaron's legal defense and supporting the family financially. And that is kind of the least that we can do. If you're able, obviously, if you're able. And so the pretrial hearing that was supposed to happen this week, I think it was supposed to happen on tomorrow originally, has now been pushed to December 17th with the trial to commence January 26th through January 30th. They're only anticipating a 5-day trial, but who knows? A lot of survivors of the horrors of Michael Fosler come forward. Would there be any chance in hell that they could dismiss the charges against him? Oh, Jenny Jen says, I'm your shiro. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking an interest in this case. We are here to fight for justice and to show and shine a light on all of the horrors that are going on across the country and to free some people who deserve to be freed. And thank you, Toasty Buns, for gifting a membership. I appreciate you more than you know. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. Thank the moderators, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And it's not an easy job. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you have all notifications set. Make sure you have notifications enabled on your phone. Smash the like button, share the stream out. Do all of the things that YouTube likes. You know what they are. Why the delay? What are they trying to hide? Welcher's emotional support laptop. Well, there was a stay in place while the Supreme Court of Arkansas heard the case. and slapped that gag order, shredded it to bits, said it was completely unconstitutional. And so there was a stay in place and nothing could be done. So I'm sure they have more discovery and things to do and stuff. And so gives us more time to scream about it, right? Risa, thank you for bringing light to this. It was rough, but there needs to be light shown on these monsters. Yep. Peace out, my friends. Stay safe. I will see you real soon.